Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Chocolate Easter Eggs. My name is Joseph. This is my gorgeous wife, Sadana. And we are continuing our Kaleidoscope Challenge after a brief momentary break for Valentine's Day celebration weekend and stuff. We had an okay time. I'm just kidding, we had a great time.
It was great.
It was great. And so today we are here to talk about the latest episode. If you saw our promo, the color that we got was
Orange. You glad that?
And since our last conversation, we actually got a little bit of feedback from Eric, the writer, Eric Garcia, who created the show. And he said that he's not going to tell us who the baby daddy is. So
rude. I have suspicions.
I'm with you. Like, especially
you weren't with me at first.
I wasn't, because I was just like, you know what? Let's just go through the ride and let's see. But it's like watching it the second time around.
I guess probably the thought was we don't need to explain who the baby's father is, because that's not
the main story.
It's not poignant to what we're trying to say. In essence, this was all about future and generations,
and breaking
lineage.
That gap and breaking the
using
the cleverness and brilliance for other means, and so
it's not about who the father is or what relationship she was a part of.
And there's a loop that needs to be closed. So this episode,
next season, when the baby's in charge,
the baby's gonna be in charge.
Dad.
So this time around, we drew from the multiversal bucket. Let's see this, the multiverse bucket, and we picked the color orange. We were struggling to figure out what songs started with orange,
and then of course afterwards we saw the whole slew of songs.
It wasn't that many though. It was only 3 artists, and one of them we discovered a new song.
Yes,
it was a very good
Clay.
song.
Thank you, Clay.
Yeah, shout out to Clay. Clay, your song is really, really good. Like that was amazing.
Yeah, I'm now a new fan of Clay.
Yeah, I'm definitely rocking the Clay. I'm gonna go back and listen to the other songs, because that song is, the lyrics and everything was beautiful. But This is not the Clay appreciation review. This is the Kaleidoscope Challenge, where we watch we watch
and we figure
episodes
out new
of Kaleidoscope. So thank you to Eric, the writer, for helping us discover Clay. see how the kaleidoscope works.
Shout out to Eric Garcia.
The kaleidoscope just connects all kinds of people, and so now we're connected. That's how we do. So anyway, we watched the Orange episode, which I can't help it. Every time I watching it again, every time I watch the episode, my mind automatically goes to, if this was the first episode, would I get it?
Would you?
Yes.
Yeah.
This would be such a good first episode,
it was like, who? What? Oh, okay. They told the background story of Abbasi, FBI agent.
This was an Abbasi.
She was
and
fighting and beating up folks, and
this was the Ava and Abbasi episode. You know what I mean? Like, we got a lot of Ava and Abbasi, and as a first episode, like, you're basically getting like both sides of the law. You know, like, you're seeing Ava being the attorney who's working for the criminals, and Abbasi, who's the FBI agent who does criminal acts.
Working against the criminals?
Working against the criminals, but also, does drugs. You know what I mean? Like, she's in too deep and has a really bad addiction. But anyway, let's go ahead and do what we usually do. Top 3 chocolate Easter eggs for you.
Easter eggs.
Or top three highlights, and then you can tell me what your chocolate Easter eggs.
I can say I have 2. I felt like there was a lot of they were comparing and contrasting, the more contrast, Abbasi versus Ava, but I like the dichotomy of the 2 characters of Ava having the support system of her Tay and being able to confide in her, and both of them knowing each other's situation. Whereas the contrast was Abbasi didn't have her son, hardly even got to talk to him, was working to get him back. But both of them comparatively had these strong work ethics where they were diving deep into, doing what they needed to do because of their passion. So I appreciated their the contrast and the comparisons between the two of their lives, of being strong women, doing what they needed to do. So those are my compare contrast. Those are like my two. But I thought that the whole thing about family differences and support systems were important for telling who they were and how far they had come. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree with you. I think that both of them effectively are immigrants working within a system, and both of them found their own way.
Yeah.
And I thought one of the line that kind of hit me hard, I mean, when you're talking about two underrepresented groups, you have one who escaped the genocide, and you have one person who effectively is trying to fight back against persecution in a country that she's working in, and bigotry. And not only that, she worked within the system to basically demonize her own people. So you can see how she can fall into addiction, how that guilt can consume her. And then, on top of that, she has a child. And to her, it's like, what kind of future am I bringing to my child? Like, what did I do? What have I done to my people? And so to me, I think it's interesting that they did pick two professional women on opposite ends of the law, working against each other. And on top of that, two women who were immigrants, I think Abasi was an immigrant. I don't think that she had an immigrant experience, an immigrant upbringing.
Yeah.
You can say that because, she made the comment that she was raised to follow certain rules and married the person that her parents wanted her to marry. All these things that she feels like anchored her, ultimately weighed her down and made her feel like she needed to escape. And the escape was through the use of drugs.
I also like the parallels of how they both had kind of horrific or traumatic incidents that spurred them to become who they are. So
for Abasi, it was 9/11, right?
Yes, and then for Ava, they talked about the dirty war, and she was like, "Y'all call it the dirty war, we call it genocide."
Right.
So it's like that spurred her to become this lawyer and fight for justice for people who are marginalized and who aren't thought of to be human beings.
Right.
So,
and people who are just trying to survive.
Yes.
Like for her, the people that she worked with weren't people that she considered criminals. It was people that, needed help. They're like, the system is broken. The system isn't helping me. Because she said a lot of things about the government. So the system ain't helping me. The system is broken. I'm taking things to survive. I'm stealing. I'm doing these criminal acts so that I can feed my family, so that I can live a life in this country. And she's just like, okay, I'm gonna help you out.
Right.
Just give me my cut.
Right.
It's like, why does her thing is like, why do these wealthy people need all this jewelry? You take it. I'll make sure that you get paid for it.
And in the same vein, Abasi, she saw what happened with 9/11. She joined the FBI to prove that not all of us are anti-American. I'm going towards showing that I'm even more patriotic and giving and serving to America by combating this. But because she was
she's overcompensating.
Yes.
She's definitely which is something a lot of people can relate to. A lot of people can relate to that, can connect to somebody who feels like they have to prove something, especially in this country. And so I think it's a lot of commentary in this episode. But one line that made me realize how the kind of person that Ava is when she says, "Skinny dogs make me sad." To me, it was just like, oh, that's a person who has a really, really big heart. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, I don't even want to see you hungry. And being somebody who's coming from a war-torn country in the middle of a genocide, she's probably seen a lot of skinny dogs, a lot of skinny kids.
It brings back trauma to her.
So for her, it's like,
place.
It's a bad place. And so for her, it's like, I have to do something. I have to help. And so that line right there just kind of tells her story without telling her story. That was one of my favorite lines in the episode.
She loves her Tay-Tay.
Oh my goodness. Like when they took Tay-Tay, that's not cool. That's not cool.
But for her, she was
Leveraging
like, she said, Abasi said, they took my son away. They took away. She's like, here. She's like, she said, you didn't never have him.
Right.
Like, where's my Tay-Tay? Like you are never gonna get your son back.
And it's like, I already
Tay-Tay,
know your situation. You ain't never had him. You never had him. So don't go trying to compare. Don't go try to justify what you did. Because she saw right through her. She knew, like, it's your addiction. You know what I mean? Like you replaced the thing that the people said in the therapy session.
Yeah.
You replaced one addiction for another. So this had nothing to do with your son.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't
you just
try
needed
to act,
have a reason to.
Don't try to act like this is about your family.
But Ava
and your son.
was addicted to, foiling Abasi too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they're so different people. They're very much similar.
Right. And I wonder if, like, if on in a different show, because we already know how everything unfolds. I wonder if on a different show, if that would be the central conflict of the show. You know what I mean? Especially if you saw this
Like
as
woman against woman.
Yeah, especially if you saw this as your first episode. I think that would be the one thing I would think that I would see them always going back and forth. And they do go back and forth a bit.
I mean, when it came down to it, Abasi just wanted to be able to catch Ava.
And that's it.
Like, yes, she does have a vendetta against her because she told, she filed a complaint against her, and she's the reason why she got suspended.
Which is clever. Ava's such a clever character.
But even still before the complaint, she still was like, I feel something about, there's something wrong
suspicious.
about.
Her instincts.
And that's what this whole episode, like, she started out, she was like, I'm starting to get the feeling back now that I'm not using anymore. Like, I'm
able to notice things.
Yeah. Whereas when she was under the influence, she could not do that.
Yeah, she's in a haze. Let me think. What else is there? Hold on. Let me look at my notes. Another thing. We got Ava's first introduction to Silas. Like an in-person introduction. I asked you while we were watching it. I was like, I thought they knew each other, but I guess Leo worked with her exclusively to like move their jewelry and stuff. But I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like she met him and got the card that we know comes into play later on. So I thought that introduction was interesting because they really took time to show her getting the card and show her looking at the card, which, of course it plays into it later. And also it's an introduction to Silas. Like, if this were to be, again, like I said, I can't help it. If this were to be the first episode, I would definitely be like, oh, who's that guy? What's his situation?
Yeah.
And then as things unfolded, I'd be like, oh, that's the guy she met in the elevator, at the building. So what is she doing at the building? There would be a whole lot of questions. So I do feel like this would be a very awesome first episode. I can't help it. I think that's what I do for every episode that we watch.
Can we talk about end user optimization? The first time I watched that, I was like, that's such a clever term for any job. I feel like we all do end user optimization. Because a real estate agent or broker was like, can you tell me what end user optimization is? And she was like, we'll take it.
Cash.
For the first month and last month rent in cash.
In cash. She could cut her off.
It's so nebulous. It's so nondescript.
Stop it.
I want to be like, this is what I do for a living. End user optimization.
Just apply it to anything.
What do you do for a living? Oh, my specialty is end user optimization.
What are you cooking for dinner tonight?
End user optimization. The end user is the consumer.
It's the consumer.
And I'm
optimizing your palate.
Is your palate optimized?
Your palate's going to be optimized.
End user optimization.
That's it.
It's called customer service. That's what
right. It's a long way of saying customer service.
And in essence, as Bank Heist, I mean, it's all about...
it is end user optimization. Like, she is optimizing for the end user, and the end user is their pockets. No deal. Another thing that I'm going to get to my chocolate Easter egg. Do you have a chocolate Easter egg this week?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right, how about you go first?
It kind of is a tie-in from the past, about Bob being kind of like the dopey, I don't know what's going on, blah blah blah, and how he really does, maybe on purpose, maybe on accident, really does optimize things.
End user optimization.
End user optimization.
Uh-huh.
Because he was at that little deal trying to get the most amount of money.
Yeah.
And she was like, just stay back, don't say anything, let me take care of it. And had he not piped up and said, 300,000,
Right.
I could do this, I could talk to my boy in Philly and get for 500 for it or something like that.
$1 million. He said $1
Yeah,
million.
$1 million, that's right. $1 million. And they wound up getting it bumped
400.
up. They didn't say whether or not that was like a act for them, but it seemed like no, she was supposed to do it all. He was supposed to.
She does not want to deal with Bob at all. She doesn't want him there. She said as much when he was at her doorstep. He went to her doorstep.
Yeah.
Like,
but that still turned out to be advantageous for them. Like, he
Right.
went to the doorstep, they took the pictures. Like, he's in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, but
however, it actually does turn out to be a good thing, because we know later, even though he took pictures, the bossy got involved, like he shouldn't have been there. But in essence, they were able to trick her, get her fired, and then still have Ava be. So while he is like the dope and seems kind of like the third wheel and shouldn't be there, he plays a bigger role and is a necessary role than what you would expect.
Yeah.
It's like wrong place, right time, wrong place, wrong time.
Right.
That,
right. He's more than just a plot device. That's just really good writing, where it's like every character has
he helps
purpose.
to move the storyline. And yes, he makes it so that there's bumps in the road, but it's still advantageous overall for what they're trying to unfoil for the audience.
Right. Speaking of Bob, that's actually one of my chocolate Easter eggs. Just the fact that we see the butterfly that he gives. The reason why his hand is all messed up. He gives it to Judy.
Why it take so long to give it to her?
I know, because I feel like he had it for
it had been a while
the
since heist, since
he probably
the diamond
was just waiting for a moment when she was like really upset. You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of manipulative like that. You know, so
manipulative and abusive.
Yeah. So like, so I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a cool Easter egg, because like, the first time we saw it, I don't think that we knew where that came from. Like, his hand was just bruising and he just put a bracelet on her wrist, and then later on we find out, that he went all the way back to get that because she likes butterflies. And so I thought that was interesting. Before we sign off, can we talk about thirsty coworker FBI #MeToo, Agent MeToo? Is it like,
I will never be able to say no to you.
like, to me, I appreciate the character. I understand the character.
Like, I'm just trying to get my son back. You trying to holla?
I mean, but she wanted it too. That's the thing.
She was interested in him.
But she was like, but to me, it was just like, I guess he was just getting the vibe, but he was coming on strong. And I kind of feel like he was coming on strong. And that's the reason why we both felt like he's in on it.
He seemed suspect.
He seemed real sus. As the kids say whenever we're playing Among Us, like, he's sus. He's the dude creeping around. Like,
the reason why he seemed super sus to me is because it was time for her to go to the little rave club at nighttime.
Right.
And all of a sudden, he had an emergency with the boss.
But he said that he can't say no to her. It's like,
he just said no. But I think that was really just the plot. Like, he can't be there. He can't save her.
Absolutely.
She was supposed to be there.
Absolutely.
Have the stuff be planted on her. And he couldn't save her. That's all it was.
For sure. Which is fine. But
it comes off like, hold on, you think that they're involved?
Like,
tell
in a
me
mystery
more?
show, you're just kind of like,
the next thing you know, he's taking pictures.
Right. It's like, okay, he's taking pictures. Is he going to take it back to her to keep the ruse going? To me, it just felt like he was playing a role, like playing a bigger role than what we know.
He's part of the heist too.
So that's how it felt the first time we saw it.
I think he's the baby daddy.
You said that, and I'm inclined to believe you. So,
Eric the writer.
You're just gonna have to
maybe the head of the FBI.
take our
Maybe
fan
he's
fiction.
the baby daddy.
Oh no,
they went and done that whole
that interview.
No, not the interview, but the whole like the whole heist. They were like, oh, Diamond Way, like at the end,
yes,
you know,
yeah. Oh, Ava Mercer is not good, so
we're
moving on. Anyway,
that's the baby daddy.
That's the baby.
FBI agents.
I love the way Ava played it cool with them. Like, she pulled out the Second Amendment right. I load my gun up like as a citizen. It's just like, go ahead, Ava. Like, you ain't playing. Like, you know
the fact that she had already claimed them 2 months prior as stolen. Like, she already had
most likely
alibi.
reported all her guns stolen. Just in case. I'm just gonna start just filing random stolen
but that's
gun
smart.
reports.
Like, let's file a few, and then if I ever do get into some mischief, then I'm gonna use the ones that I claim were stolen.
Right. It's really, 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 really clever. Really clever on her part. So anyway, anything else? Any final thoughts?
That's it.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Another episode of Chocolate Easter Eggs.
We have like 2 or 3 left.
A Kaleidoscope Challenge. We have 2 episodes out of the bucket, and then the final episode.
And then white.
Yeah, and then that's it. We're gonna be moving on to other things. You know what I mean?
Another chocolate movie show.
Chocolate movie show, TV show, something. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate it and hanging out with us.
Thank you, Eric Garcia.
Yeah, thank you, Eric Garcia, for not answering our question.
If only Giancarlo would,
Giancarlo's the bomb, man. You got a little chest action. I know you were feeling hot and heavy when you saw Giancarlo come out. You know what I mean? With
I mean, it was no Gus Fring, but I'll take Leo.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Follow us on all our things. You know what I mean? We're on YouTube at Are You a Fan Yet? And also on Instagram and TikTok. If you have any comments or questions, please just hit us up. We are available to chit chat because we love the show. I think it's dope. 2 more out of the bucket, 1 final. Join us next week and the week after that and the week after that. Bye, guys.